a reality check. Barna Research found that 64% of adults in America say moral truth depends on the person and their situation, while only 22% believe in absolute moral truths. Among teenagers, it's even more sobering. 83% say truth is relative, and only 6% say it's absolute. Even more surprising, the data from a pair of nationwide studies conducted by the same Barna Research Group of Ventura, California, showed that less than 1 out of 3 born-again Christians adopts the notion of absolute moral truth. The survey also found that few Americans turn to their faith as the primary guide for their moral and ethical decisions. Think about that. Even among people who claim a deep faith, many have surrendered moral clarity to the shifting tides of opinion and convenience. In a world where convictions are optional and compromise is common, standing firm is not normal, it's radical. So here's the question. If the majority is drifting with the current, what does it take to be the one who swims upstream and still finishes strong? My name is Oluwagbinro Ajayi, and I believe the greatest shortage in our generation isn't technology, money, or opportunity. It's integrity. And integrity isn't built by accident. It's forged through discipline. When I say the discipline of a righteous life, I'm talking about a lifestyle governed by moral conviction, spiritual clarity, and the daily choice to do what's right, even when it's unpopular or costly. Righteousness isn't self-righteousness. It's alignment with a higher standard, one that doesn't change with trends or feelings. Why does this matter now? Because without moral anchors, leadership collapses into manipulation, and influence becomes a tool for personal gain rather than a platform for truth. The people who will truly stand out in this generation are not the loudest, but the most grounded. If this resonates with your values, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We are building a community that lives with truth and lives with purpose. For you to get the discipline of righteousness, number one, you need to put conviction before opportunity. Discipline begins before the stage, before the promotion, before the spotlight. Most people wait until they have influence to think about integrity, but by then, it's too late. Your convictions must be set before opportunity knocks. Daniel in the Bible was taken into Babylon, a culture that didn't share his values. Yet Daniel resolved in his heart not to defile himself before he ever faced the king's table. That's discipline. Decisions made in private that hold you steady in public. Leaders without pre-decided convictions are like ships without a rudder, drifting wherever the wind blows. If you want to stand out, set your standards now, not later. Number two is that you need to put consistency over convenience. Discipline is choosing what's right, not what's easy. Most of the world's moral collapse happens not because people don't know the truth, but because it's inconvenient to live it. I heard of a young entrepreneur who refused to cut ethical corners, even though it cost him a major client. Years later, that decision became the reason an investor trusted him with a much bigger deal. The seeds of righteousness may not sprout immediately, but when they do, the fruit is undeniable. If you change your values when the prayer is on, you never truly add values, you add preferences. Discipline keeps you consistent, even when the culture shifts. Number three is that you need courage in the face of criticism. Standing out means standing alone sometimes. Righteousness will draw criticism, but it exposes compromise in others. But leadership without courage is just management. Nehemiah faced mockery, threats, and sabotage while rebuilding Jerusalem's wall, but he refused to come down from his work to argue with the detractors. Why? Because discipline keeps your focus on purpose, not on noise. The moment you stop needing everyone's approval is the moment you become dangerous in the best way. Courageous discipline doesn't just resist temptation, it resists distraction. How do you start living the discipline of a righteous life today? Here are 3 steps you can apply immediately. Number 1 is that you define your non-negotiables. Write down 3 values you will not compromise no matter the cost. Review them every morning until they are ingrained in your thinking. Number 2, practice small acts of integrity daily. Hold yourself to the truth even in the smallest details. Return the extra change to your boss, to your parents, to your husband. Honor your word. Own your own mistakes. Small disciplines become unshakable habits. Number 3, build accountability. Invite one trusted person into your life who has permission to ask you hard questions about your choices, your motives, and direction. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I consistently lived out my values for the next 10 years? And what would it cost me if I didn't? The discipline of a righteous life is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's a daily, deliberate decision to live by principle, not popularity. And in a culture starving for authenticity, your life can become a lighthouse for others. So here is my challenge this week. Choose one area of your life where compromise has crept in and replace it with conviction. Don't wait for the right moment. The right moment is now. If this message challenged you, don't just move on, subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a call to rise above the noise, to stand for truth and to become the kind of leader this world desperately needs. Remember this, your greatest influence will not come from what you achieve, but from what you refuse to compromise. In the words of an old proverb, better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways. Stand firm, live disciplined, and you will stand out every time.